Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from Clean Start Africa headquarters here in Nairobi. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. As our name suggests, Dadas Show aspires to promote the spirit of sisterhood, solidarity and inclusivity amongst the women of Kenya. And we do this by creating an open and a safe platform for women to discuss any and all issues pertaining to their health and well-being, their lifestyle and career, their families, among other topics. We also take time to celebrate and acknowledge formidable women who are doing it big, not only for themselves, but for their communities at large. On this second part of our Beyond the Bars series, we are meeting one of those transformational ladies. So today we are shifting our gears from survival to transformation. So joining us today is a phenomenal woman who is leading from experience, turning pain into purpose, and of course, turning personal healing into collective action. Join us as we unpack how leadership, advocacy, and empathy can definitely redefine justice for women. And as we look at what true integration looks like for women in a society that often refuses to forget their past. This is a conversation about changing systems, rebuilding dignity, and of course, proving that there definitely is life beyond the bars, life that is both powerful and purposeful. As always, we welcome you at home to take part in this and any other conversation that we may have across all social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also reach me personally at Ashiko the host across all social media platforms. You can reach us on Facebook at Dadas Show KBC. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. Give us your thoughts on this and any other conversation that we may have, and we're truly looking forward to hearing from you. Before we get into today's very conversation, let's take a look at the following feature.
When the prison gate swings open, freedom begins. But so does another kind of sentence. For many women living prison in Kenya, life after incarceration is a daily test of resilience. Outside prison walls, the world has moved on. Yet, for these women, the hardest part isn't leaving, it's starting again. Without jobs, housing, or acceptance, many face rejection from their families and communities. Employers turn them away, landlords refuse to rent to them, even neighbors whisper behind their backs. This stigma traps many women in a cycle of poverty and isolation. Some end up homeless, others struggle to provide for their children or to find food for the day. The scars of prison follow them along after their release. But amid the struggle, there is hope. Across the country, programs are helping women rebuild their confidence and learn new skills, from tailoring and farming to small business training. These initiatives offer more than just income. They restore dignity. Through mentorship, counseling and community support, women are finding their voices again, standing tall in a society that once looked away. They've learned freedom is not just walking out of prison, it's rebuilding your life one step at a time, with courage, forgiveness, and the belief that everyone deserves a clean start. For women beyond the bars, the journey continues, not just to survive, but to begin again. Edna Murungi for Dadas Show.
Welcome back. Remember, this is the Trailblazer edition and the second part of our Beyond the Bars series. Here we are moving from survival to transformation. We have the honor of being joined by a phenomenal woman who is who has an organization that's the first of its kind. And what is most unique about this particular experience is she is leading from experience. Very inspirational woman. This is Madam Teresa Njoroge, who is the CEO of Clean Start Africa and of course a formerly incarcerated woman. Thank you so much for making time to join us. I think I bumped into your story and I was hooked. And I went into the rabbit hole trying to find out more about you, about your organization. And all I could think about is what kind of impact can having a conversation with this lady have to women in Kenya. And so I'm so happy for this opportunity to sit across from you, to learn from you, to hear your story. And I hope that the same impact will actually resonate through the screens. Asante sana, Teresa. We also want to appreciate great. My wonderful audience who are seated with me here, and you at home for sitting with us week in, week out, as we learn, as we unlearn, as we celebrate, as we appreciate each other through communication. We truly, truly appreciate you. How are you feeling today?
I feel excited. Thank you very much for having me, and it's a great honor to share, my life experience for the benefit of many, but most importantly, towards a better Kenya.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love that. So let's reel it all back. You've lived this journey.
Yeah.
We previously had the part one of our two-part series Beyond the Bars, and we had the opportunity of hearing stories from formerly incarcerated women. Now, sitting across from you, it's a little bit difficult for me to comprehend that you actually lived the journey. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
From here you are working, and then all of a sudden you're behind bars.
Yeah.
So tell us about the events that led up to that.
Okay. So thank you very much for humanizing the stories of justice impacted women and what that means to them, their lives, and what that's like, because the larger part of society distance itself from that experience. And I think because of the criminalization and the shame that incarceration carries, I love what you emphasized on leadership, advocacy, and empathy. And a lot of times we take away the empathy. You do not want to understand what it's like for these women and what their journeys have been like. And just to sharing my story, even as I come to that, we rarely understand the pathways to incarceration for many women.
Yes.
We begin from the point of you were incarcerated. And unfortunately, while we're beginning in the middle of the journey, we then close the chapter without hearing them out. We judge them and, just lock that door and throw the keys. Yours is done forever. For the rest of your life, you will be referred to as an ex-convict.
An ex-convict.
My individual pathway into the criminal justice system began with a malicious arrest. I worked within the financial sector, and at the bank where I worked, I happened to handle a fraudulent transaction unknowingly. And the arresting officer knew that, because post handling that fraudulent transaction, we had our own internal investigations that went on for quite a while. And on my end, I was waiting for the final report, or rather the outcome of the internal investigations. But the internal investigations report never got to me. And I think it was about a year and a half post handling that transaction, and an arresting officer comes in. So, comes in and says, I'm here and I'm looking for Teresa. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, it must be some discussion.
Yeah.
And when he said that, in particular, it was in regards to the transaction, I thought to myself, finally, we get to the final report and get to know exactly what transpired and what is the way forward. Because I knew, being part of, yes, those who handled the transaction, but not the one who stole the funds or had been part of the fraud. I knew I would maybe be collaborating to get to the bottom of...
Of course. You were being brought in as a witness.
Yes.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that.
But shock on me. This officer says to me, I'm actually here to arrest you. So I'm really confused at this point. Why are you here to arrest me? And could you help me understand how you've zeroed down and singled me out of everyone to be the one that you're arresting? How did you arrive to this? But it wasn't as pleasant. It was a very difficult moment. And he then takes me to, so he was from Central Bank Fraud Unit.
Yes.
So banking fraud unit. and he takes me to where they continue the querying. But what he really needs is the statement, because this statement is what he will use to prosecute me.
Yes.
So in between this time of getting the statement, this is when he says to me, by the way, I do know that you're innocent.
Wow.
And I do know that you didn't commit any of these crimes.
Yes.
And the sooner you cooperate, the better.
Okay.
Because we need to conclude this. This is a done deal. After quite a number of, trying to tuffle with him, he then now gets his statement and eventually books me at Kileleshwa police station. From that point on, the wrongful prosecution begins. And he knows very well that he's wrongfully arrested me, he's maliciously now prosecuting me. The malicious prosecution now begins, and I'm now out on bail. Because at the point of the wrongful arrest, he asks me whether I have 1 million Kenya shillings. And if I paid him the 1 million Kenya shillings, he dropped the case. I stood on my values, and I say to him, I'm not paying the 1 million Kenya shillings. Especially when he's told me to my
that
face.
That he knows that you're innocent.
That he knows that I'm innocent.
Yeah.
So what kind of an exchange is this that you want? Where I'm giving you 1 million, you know I'm innocent. So what is it for? Do what needs to be done, which is the right thing, and let me go and do your investigation correctly. But I was very naive as far as the criminal justice system is concerned. Having never been arrested or been involved within the criminal justice system. So I really, really didn't know the depth of what the decision of not paying their 1 million shillings and standing on my values, what that meant.
Exactly.
And the cost that would come with. So I'm locked in a Langata Women Remand section. This takes about 3 to 4, give it a week. And at this time, we're looking for a lawyer. We're trying to pay the bill and all that kind of stuff. Things don't move as fast in the courts. By the time they go to registry to pay and all this kind of stuff, it takes about a week. Post being released, I come into, the realities of the fact that my career has now come to an end, because I get terminated from the bank, and my employer says to me, now that you have a court case, first handle that.
And then we can talk later.
Once you're cleared. It's not like it's a discussion you're going to have, and then a month later you're back to work. It takes years. So for me, it took close to 3 years from the time I got terminated from work to being in and out of court, trying to clear my name.
Yes.
So the case drags on. Every month I'm in court, at least minimum twice a month.
Yes.
And this minimum is either I'm attending a mention. If not a mention, we are going before the judge for the continuity of the case. Prosecution is bringing in their side of the story, and I am bringing my side of the story as the accused person. So, and I am coming against the bank and government. The 3 years then come to an end. But as we're coming to the end of the 3-year term, the guy, the arresting officer now comes to me and says, we're now nearing sentencing. And he says, do you know that we really need to talk now because you want the sentencing to be in your favor?
Wow.
And I'm like, what exactly are you talking about?
Yes.
For this entire time that we've been in court, no one has alluded to the fact that I either stole or colluded with anyone. So just like you told me that you knew I was innocent, there is no evidence whatsoever that I have done anything wrong. So what discussion exactly
are you having with this person?
Are we going to be having? What we should be doing right now is to be clearing my name because I need to continue with my life. This about 3 years were very difficult because all the friends I had, all the contacts, everyone has disappeared. You know, no one wants to be associated with you. You've got a court case, you're an alleged criminal. So you've lost so much. Literally, your name is on the line, your reputation is gone. No, the career you worked so hard to build, no one really wants to touch you. So it was a very, very difficult time. And I really want to be cleared so that I can continue with my life and earning a decent income. But again, I underestimated what he had in store because he talked about a figure of about 5 million Kenya shillings for sentencing to go my way. And again, this standing on my values was again going to be very, very costly. And this particular time, the cost was not just going to impact and affect me, but it was also going to impact and affect my firstborn daughter. Because when we got into sentencing, I had 4 counts, 3 for theft and 1 for conspiracy to defraud. And even when I was reading, because when I got arrested and, you know, got into remand, when I was reading what was reported in the newspapers, they doubled the amount. The amount we had dealt with was about 9.8 million. But what they reported in the papers was 19.8 million. So I kept wondering, why did they bump it up with a whole 10 million on top? So he asks for 5 million for the case to go in my favor. And we say, no, we're not paying the 5 million. So we go for sentencing with evidence that has been given for the last 2.5, close to 3 years. Let's get the judgment. So the magistrate reads, you know, what her judgment is, what she's made up out of all this time, and she drops the 3 counts, the first 3 counts of theft. She drops them. So what I'm thinking to myself is that justice is being served.
Exactly.
And as we're waiting for this 4th one, which was around conspiracy, how could I have conspired if I've not stolen?
Of course.
So I'm already seeing my highway back home, like, come on, prosecution. Look, you have had no case whatsoever. All your theft charges have been dropped. So we get to the conspiracy case count, and the magistrate says, you might have known that this particular transaction was fraudulent, and therefore you might have conspired with someone to defraud the bank. And my heart sinks. But as my heart is sinking, and I'm getting to understand exactly what has happened, I'm whisked by the police at the courtroom with my daughter, who's now 3 months old, and off we go to serve a year sentence because I got convicted to serve a year. So now my identity just changes right there.
Immediately.
Because now I am a convicted felon in this country. And so I'm taken to these cells where we're now waiting. It's now
with your baby in
with
tow.
my baby, with my baby, with my 3-month-old baby, and we're locked in these very dingy little cells. At that time, the courts were where we have the Supreme Court, and the cells, the holding cells, were under. So you're taken someplace under into some very dingy, stinky cells, very tiny, hundreds of you. So what you're doing as you're in this holding cell, you're waiting now to be taken to the prison. And I'm with my daughter. So life has like taken a completely different turn. Within no time, the holding cell is opened and we're taken out, and now we're taken straight to a prison's bath. So you walked in here free.
Like, what's going through your, you know me, I'm feeling like I'm watching a movie. What's going through your mind when all this is happening? Because when those charges were dropped, you were like, I'm going home.
Very hopeful.
Very hopeful. So here you are, you've not even had a moment to sit and breathe. So what's going through your mind at that particular moment?
At that particular moment, I am very disappointed. Very disappointed with the criminal justice system in the country. Because how can an arresting officer know that I'm innocent and I'm subjected to an entire justice system, and there have been no evidence that I stole a coin, but let down to a conviction that's so unfair and unjust?
That attracted a jail term.
I was very disappointed.
Wow.
And I had so many questions around, how do people get justice in Kenya?
Yeah.
So does that mean one has to bribe for one to get justice in this country? And at this particular time, you're unlearning everything you have learned throughout your life. Like, be law-abiding, do the right thing. So, and the reality of the matter is that that doesn't count in this country.
Yes.
Because you've done the right thing.
And here you are.
And here you are.
Okay.
It was a lot of disappointment.
So here you are and you're in the bus. And you're taken to Langata. Talk us through that.
That was one of the most difficult days of my life.
I can imagine.
With my infant firstborn daughter.
3 months is a very small baby.
As a first-time mom, you're still learning how to breastfeed, how to care for your child. Like, it's a whole mixture of emotion. You don't even know what to prioritize. Is it your traumas? Is it mothering? Is it, what exactly, is it coming into reality of the country that you call your country? Is it the justice system? Like, you don't even know what to prioritize at this particular time. So the bus gets to Langata, and before we get to Langata, we go dropping other people. So like, this bus goes from one court to another, Kibera Court, City Court, wherever, whichever court, and they're picking all these people who've been convicted or people who've been given bails and fines that they did have that particular day. So the bus is filling up. At the end of the day, we arrive at Langata, and it's a cold evening, and you're a number of you're not talking to anyone because you don't trust anyone. You don't even know who to trust. And the gate is opened, and you're whisked into the prison. And I'm telling you, when that gate bangs behind you, it's a bang you never forget. That truly now sets in motion of the fact that
You're in prison.
and your freedom is gone.
It's gone.
And you're not living here. The only way out is you serve your time, or the courts release you, either through appeal or fines, or
you're pardoned.
you're pardoned.
Yeah.
So reality checks in, and it's a very harsh reality. So when I arrived, it's in the evening. It was such a busy time of the evening. I'm seeing so many women, seas of women in there. And to you, at that particular moment, you're not even seeing like it's people. Because it's like you're in a daze. It's admission time.
Yeah.
And you're all tears, so you're breaking down. I'm not going home tonight. Like, this better not be happening. This is not real.
This is a bad dream.
Like, can we talk? Like, I'm here wrongfully. I shouldn't be here. But the officers are very busy admitting you. I mean, the warrant that has come from court is what's now talking. So they're giving you your admission number, your prison uniform, thinking about where you will be sleeping, and all that kind of stuff. And you're thinking, what bad dream is this?
Like, what's going on?
Like, I need to wake up. I need to wake up from this bad dream. The other women are very excited to have you come in, and they're wondering, how can we support you? Sleepers, you have no. So the other women begin to show you how to begin adjusting to life
in prison,
behind bars.
You're not even mentally there.
Exactly.
You're still thinking, no, I'll wake up.
I'll wake up and I'll leave.
Oh dear.
And they're bringing you dinner, and this dinner is like, no way, this cannot be my food.
No, it bears in comparison to what you had for breakfast, perhaps.
Oh my goodness me. It's the shocks and the realities of the indignity, there's no way we can even be feeding from this metallic bowl. There's no way this is dinner. There's no way we're staying here.
This is where you're sleeping.
And then you start questioning, what did I do to deserve being here? A lot is going through your mind. You can't fathom, but the first night is one of the longest of your mind adjusting from life on the outside, the plans that you had, to the reality of the fact that this is your new life, and by the way, you're not leaving this place in a hurry. And the other women begin to encourage you, because soon after you've been shown in, the doors are about to be locked.
And left.
You are part of the evening count.
Now you're a number. You're done being Teresa, now you're a number.
You're a number. You have made the count for prison.
Yeah.
And you're going to make part of the prison count for quite a bit. And the doors are locked, and you're left there with your fellow convicts.
What is very interesting about what you've said is, because I think one thing that majority of us, especially if you're watching us from home and this is an experience that you've not had, is the fact that you're saying that the people who actually offered you support were the other women who had been incarcerated. That is definitely, I mean, there's a little bit of restoration of faith in humanity.
Yeah.
Because everything that even Hollywood has stuffed down our throat has always been, when you go to prison, you have to find the biggest woman, you beat her, it's rough, people are doing this and that. But the fact that you walked in and people were embracing you. So, I mean, it's something that's definitely blowing my mind. But walk us through the next couple of months before your release.
Yeah, so there's a lot of humanness in prison, and I think it's because they understand what it's like for you on that very first day. Besides, you've been locked with other mothers, and they know that you need to breastfeed. It's not like there's some special food for your little infant baby, and this baby needs to live and survive. So they understand where your mind is at, and so they help you to come into terms and help you to face the realities. And oh my goodness, the night comes and passes, and you believe that you've been locked in prison. And mark you, this is the largest correctional facility for women in Kenya, so you're at the maximum security facility. So soon rather than later, like clockwork, the prison routine begins. 6 a.m. count, take your porridge, get to where you need to be. Lunchtime comes, the metallic bowl and the horrible food. I mean, oh my goodness, day 1, day 2, day 3. By the end of week 1, you actually cannot wait for that metallic bowl to come.
You've gotten used to it.
Because you're so hungry at this particular time, and you've come to learn that options aren't many here.
Yes.
So the first couple of months were very difficult. In particular for me, I remained very quiet, just observing, learning. You begin to learn why other people have come into prison. And what that does is that it begins to open your eyes to the pathways to prison of many women.
Yes.
Which is very heartbreaking. Wow. Because when you now begin to hear about their pathways to prison, it makes you begin to gain the empathy, and you begin to see that you're not the only one who didn't get justice. If anything, you're one amongst the few lucky ones who had legal representation. A lot of the women you come to learn that did not have legal representation couldn't even afford it.
Yes.
You come to learn that they have been here for years before they can get a court date. So you begin to learn a lot of things that begin to show you the cracks within the justice system, you know? And what that does is that you now begin to ask yourself, as opposed to being stuck on, how could this happen to me?
Woe me.
You know, you now move from that point of perspective to a point of, so what do we need to do if it's hundreds of us who are in this boat, you know? But even as you ask yourself those questions, you now begin to also see the injustices when it comes to, I mean, all these are women. They need sanitary towels, they need toothpaste, toothbrush, essentials.
Yes.
So you begin to see the deficits. So over and above, so when I left that justice perspective of, oh my goodness, all this injustice that's happening, I began to now see the deficit in terms of the essentials that the women need, the deficit in terms of the programs and the trainings that are happening here, nutrition and all. So you begin to see the deficit within the prison system. Then your perspective continues going deeper, and now you begin to see these are mothers who have left their children on the outside, and you begin to see that separation that has happened.
Yes.
So the time in prison continues to open your eyes to a lot of things you never think about when you're free. And back to the humanness, it's the sharing, you know, the sharing of the soap that someone has, to the sharing of the little that someone, you know, because a lot of people are visited, while also a lot of people are not visited. So you begin to see the sharing and the camaraderie in prison, because there's a lot of camaraderie that happens in prison where people share their I mean, I can see that clearly my sister doesn't have a bar of soap to shower, but I have some little, I can share that. I can see my sister needs some sanitary towels. I have some extra, I can share that. So it's the sharing and the camaraderie and the sisterhood that's there. A lot is happening.
I mean, that's a very interesting take, and I think that's what I really, really appreciate. And of course, I can see where the spark behind Clean Start started from. But before we even get to that, tell me about the day of release. What did freedom mean to you?
I got a date for a bond pending appeal.
Yes.
And by the time I was getting my date for the bond pending appeal, it was only 2 months left to my completing this sentence and being free. So I said to myself, instead of living on a bond pending appeal, why not just complete these 2 months, get over and done with this space completely, and live and continue with my appeal. And I knew my release date, and I just couldn't wait for this release date. It was very exciting for me, and I just couldn't wait to leave and kickstart my life. And I left prison very hopeful because I had learned so much while I was incarcerated. And I get home, I went straight to my parents' home. That's where we went to. And, you know, you get to your parents' home and, ooh, shock on you. other realities begin. So you think that navigating incarceration was the hardest part, that you, and you consider yourself victorious because you have navigated that very tough part, only to get home and then realize that, my goodness,
There's another monster to slay.
you can say that again.
Dear.
And here I am with the benefit of family.
Yes.
But
Who know the whole
still-
story?
Exactly. And who are there for me. But still, you have not put into consideration the stigma and the perspective society has on people who are coming out of prison.
Yes.
And now you're having to now deal with this. And you're thinking, my goodness, I could catch a break. I need to catch a break.
Yeah, I know, please.
Do you know what I have been through?
Yeah, leave me alone for a
What
bit.
is this
Yeah.
monster on stigmatizing me just because I have come out of prison?
Society has already shunned you. So how are you able to navigate that before we get to where did the spark for Clean Start start from? How did you navigate that?
For me, navigating was a little bit easier because I had my family
Yes.
that was really there to support me.
Yes.
But as much as my family was there to support me, it was still very, very difficult. Because you can imagine, I'm reading about myself.
In the papers.
And I am a meme. I remember I was this Mulika Mwizi. There was this Mulika Mwizi thing that was going around, and Mulika Mwizi spotlight the thief.
Yes.
So there's this meme that's being forwarded, Mulika Mwizi, and the Kamwizi there is me. You know, you realize that we continue to break the broken. But even as I come to how I navigated, you see, while I was in prison, I saw how the broken and the vulnerable continue to be broken. It's people who have come in due to addictions.
Yes.
It could be drug addiction, it could be other kinds of addiction, whether they needed medication, whether they needed support to overcome the addiction.
Yes.
The only way we could handle with you is punish you.
Let's lock you up.
You know what?
Yeah.
We're locking you and forgetting about you because we don't want you. You continue rotting there. Society is for complete whole people who, you know, have no addictions. That's one of the pathways that took people to prison. Other pathways were the lack of economic opportunities.
Of
You
course.
dropped out of school.
Yeah.
So the lack of quality, equal supply of education opportunities for everyone. So if you could not afford that, then my friend, prison is your go-to. And so on and so forth, where I saw how we break the very vulnerable. Then here I am on the outside. So I went in at my lowest. I'm coming out at a very low point in my life.
Yes.
And then society is continuing
To push on you.
push me further down.
Yeah.
By stigmatizing me and everything that society is doing, including the invisible barriers. But anyway, by the help of my family, I navigated all that really difficult time that got me all the way to depression. But I managed to get out of it. And when I got out of it is when I started asking myself the questions of, if I am going through this,
What is somebody in the village, going
Going
through? We're going to take a small break and then we'll come back and talk about the spark, because I feel like we need a fresh set when we're just moving into because I
next?
can see where we are going. I can see the blueprint of this wonderful organization. So we'll take a short break and then we'll be back right after the break. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the second part of our two-part Beyond the Bars series. And we have had the pleasure of interacting with a CEO. We've had the honor of listening to her story, and it's a story that, has ups and downs. It has moments of hopelessness. It has moments of hope. It has moments where we've even discovered that, there's still faith in humanity in the most unlikely of places. Because you would definitely expect that people would be kind to each other out here. But behind bars, people are showing each other love, empathy, community. I love that. So remember to all take part in this conversation on all our social media pages. We welcome your feedback. So let's get into the conversation about Clean Start Africa.
This is the beautiful part of turning the pain now into purpose. And I must truly honor one of our FIWs, formerly incarcerated woman, who committed suicide after serving a 5-year sentence, and she scorched herself with her son. Because that's what really pushed me to stop standing at the peripheries and saying, when this is right, when this is right, when this is right. You know how you want to do something perfectly.
Yeah.
When she committed suicide, I said, we cannot wait for things to be perfect. And some of these things that you're waiting to be perfect, you want to get funding, you want to get, so you're wondering, how do I start? I don't have money, I don't, like, let me first plan. But when that happened, I realized that time is a luxury.
Yes.
And because I understood the pain, because there are no re-entry pathways for people to rebuild their lives,
Yes.
then I truly had to set up Clean Start. So it was that extra pain, unfortunately, that really pushed me to set up Clean Start. So why Clean Start? Anyway, as the name suggests,
Of course.
Clean Start.
Yes.
It was to give women who have been impacted by the justice system a clean start. But while that is happening on one hand, to also let the criminal justice system rethink how it administers justice.
Betty, kindly tell us what role Clean Start has actually played in, in your healing, in your financial stability, in your growing, even in your giving back to others. Betty, karibu.
So thank you so much, Ashiko, for the chance again to just talk about how being a beneficiary of Clean Start. Post-incarceration, before I joined Clean Start, it was a very hard time for me. So by joining Clean Start, I was able to just get the second chance and reclaim my life because they stood by me. And the first thing I did when I joined Clean Start was join, the chapters. Back then they were called the circles of healing, and that's where my emotional healing began. So through those circles and those chapters, I was just able to express myself and just start the journey of healing. And then again, after now, I was able to just know, I've started my healing journey. I went through very many courses, business courses, entrepreneurship courses, which just set the pace for me. Once you're done with I was done with the courses, I got a loan, my very first loan. Yes. I got from Clean Start Africa, and that is what actually projected me to where I am today. Yes. Because it is through that loan that I was able to open a business, which is thriving 6 years down the line. Wow. And the very first loan came from Clean Start, my first capital. Wow. We are the living embodiment of, even if you're here right now, once you get out, you have someone to hold your hand, that is Clean Start, and you can have a life after imprisonment.
That is really wonderful. I want you to give us our parting shot, briefly. Now that you have been in the system, you survived the system, you've been in the system, you are running this organization. There's so many things you have seen, personally and even just witnessing. What would a truly restorative system for women look like in Kenya?
I will say that justice is something that's truly necessary in society. But justice is not a luxury because currently the way it's executed in a manner that those without means cannot access justice.
Cannot be able to access it, yes.
And they will forever have injustices, whether or not they have been through the criminal justice system. And justice is a continuous struggle. So we still are on that journey of ensuring that justice is administered equally for all Kenyans, irrespective of your social economic status. So we cannot address, as a nation, we cannot address our social economic issues wearing a criminal justice lens.
Okay.
Social economic issues have a way to be addressed, and that's the lens we need to wear. And then use the criminal justice lens to address criminal matters from a criminal justice lens. Because when we wear the criminal justice lens to address social economic issues, we continue to punish the vulnerable.
Yes.
And being poor is not being a criminal. Poverty does not equate criminality.
Yeah.
So let us change that in this country and see to it that the opposite of justice is not inequality. You know?
Wow.
Let us ensure that that is not how things operate in Kenya. And I believe that each and every person who has been given the power, whether as a duty bearer or a right holder, whether within the criminal justice system or wherever it is that you have power, every single minute you can ask yourself, was that just or not?
Was that
and
just
it's as simple as that. We can begin to change the justice quotient in this country.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, need I say more? Thank you so, so much, Teresa. This has been a completely illuminating session. There's so much I have learned. I am in awe. I am challenged. So I commend you. I affirm you for that. I affirm you. And I pray that your healing journey continues to rebuild you and for you to know that regardless of being a formerly incarcerated woman, that your life definitely does have purpose and it's definitely powerful. So asanteni sana for being here. Thank you for you at home for watching this episode. And this was the final part of our two-part series dubbed Beyond Bars. I hope you've learned something about empathy, about compassion, about love, about life after incarceration. So on behalf of the production team at KBC, our gracious host, Clean Start Africa, myself, Ashiko Mbune, I wish you all a very compassionate week. I will catch you same time, same place. But for now, goodbye.